Hi, welcome to Sociological Objective. I am Dr. Dilsora Fozilova. In this video lecture, we're going to talk about social structures and inequality and focusing on the modern life. So before we get into this, let's try to answer this question. How is society possible? So we are individuals living in our families, and then there is all these families living in certain societies. They built organized patterns of people, which we call them social institutions like healthcare system and politics and government, and seems everything flawlessly follows certain principle. How is society possible? Society is possible because humans as social beings organize themselves into structured relationships to achieve mutual survival, cooperation, and shared goals. The foundation of society lies in the interplay of social structures, cultural norms, and collective behavior that allow individuals to coexist and interact in meaningful ways or meaningfully. So let's take a look into some of the key factors that make society possible. So number one could be human interdependence, that humans rely on each other for survival, fulfillment of basic needs, and emotional support. For example, we go to our parents when we are experiencing hard times. We talk to a friend. We go to school to get education. We go to doctors to get health care, right? So this interdependence drives the formation of groups and institutions to facilitate cooperation and resource sharing. The second one can be communication. The language and symbolic communications, we talked about symbolic interactionism in our last class, are essential for conveying ideas, establishing norms, and creating shared understanding. Communication allows for the transmission of culture, knowledge, and values across generations. We call that socialization. Third can be maybe a shared culture. Culture provides the framework for shared beliefs, values, practices, and symbols that bind individuals into a collective. Cultural norms guide behavior, reduce uncertainty, and foster a sense of belonging. And then we have social structure. What is social structure? In our last classes, we talked about social structure. It's organized patterns of people, or it's organized through structures like families, governments, education systems, and economic institutions. These structures regulate interactions, allocate resources, and enforce norms and roles in society. Also, we have division of labor. So specialization in modern societies and the division of labor allow individuals to focus on specific roles while relying on others to fulfill complementary functions. This interdependence supports economic productivity and societal cohesion. So then how about social norms and laws? We talked about social norms that between, that extreme, from the lowest extreme to highest extreme, we have different kinds of norms and laws, which are institutionalized form of norms, create order by establishing acceptable behaviors and consequences for violation of them. That there are norms violated by society, we call them deviant. We have social sanctions. That norms violated by people, that the institutional norms, we have different kinds of They might have different punishments like incarceration or paying fees, and it can be all different kinds. These rules ensure predictability and cooperation in daily interactions. Also, we have another thing called collective identity. Society forms through shared sense of identity, whether based on culture, language, religion, history, or your education. This collective identity fosters unity and distinguishes one society from another. So, building blocks of society then, there are so many building blocks in society. It composes of several interrelated components that serve as its building blocks. Let's start with individuals. I start, of course, here social institutions, social groups, social rules, social norms. But individual is the smallest atomized building block of social structure. Individuals are the fundamental units, contributing to its structure through their actions and relationships. And human agency also shapes social dynamics and drive a societal change. If we think about social groups, groups form when individuals come together for a shared purpose or identity. We will talk about Simmel's ideas about that. These groups provide support, identity, and sense of belonging. Now we are into social institutions. Institutions are organized patterns of people or organized systems that fulfill specific societal needs, such as family for reproduction, socialization, and emotional support, economy for production, distribution of wealth, consumption of goods and services. We have education for transmitting knowledge and skills. We have religion for providing moral guidance and existential meanings, and government for maintaining order, enforcing laws, and distributing powers. These are social institutions. And also we have culture. So culture encompasses shared values. We have belief systems, customs, traditions, language, and symbols. In our last class, we talked about culture. It serves as the glue that binds individuals and groups, providing shared meaning and cohesion. So we have norms and social norms and values. So norms are rules for behavior, that shaking hands, for example, that ensure social order. Values are broader principles. Equality is a value, freedom is a value that guides society and prioritizes and the decisions, right? Social rules define expected behaviors for individuals based on their position in society. For example, somebody is a parent, they can be also teacher and leader. So our rules change as we go to different social institutions. And social networks, patterns of relationships and connections. Social networks are webs of relationships that connect individuals and groups. They facilitate communication, resource exchange, and support systems. We have different levels of power and authority in society. Power structures determine how decisions are made and resources are allocated in society. Authority, for example, often institutionalized. We have police as an authority. We have employers as an authority. We have school authorities or medical authorities, right? Ensures compliance and maintains order. So parts of social structure can be technology, tools, and innovations shape how society is interact, produce, and communicate. From early tools to modern digital technologies, this advancements influence societal organization and development. In short, that society is possible because humans create structures and systems that enable collective living and cooperation. The building blocks of society, individuals, groups, institutions, culture, norms, and networks, work together to create order, meet needs, and sustain human interaction. These elements evolve over time, reflecting changing circumstances and challenges. So we now learned that those are the building blocks of a social structure. What is social structure itself? So social structure refers to the organized patterns of relationships, roles, institutions, and norms that shape and regulate the behavior of individuals and groups within society. It is the framework that provides order and predictability in social life, ensures that societies function cohesively. Some of the key features of society, the social structure can be organized relationships. It includes like systems of interactions between individuals and groups, such as family dynamics and workplace hierarchies and government functions. And also another feature is roles and statuses. Social structure aligns roles, expected behaviors, and statuses, positions, to individuals guiding their actions in society. Your father is a father because he accepts the role of a father, and he can have a different status based on where he works. For example, he might be government official, he might be a doctor, right? Also, we have norms and values. So shared cultural norms and values are the integral part of maintaining order and coherence in social interactions. And then we have social institutions. So some of the core institutions, social institutions, as we mentioned, are family, religion, education, economy, and government. These ones are the central components of social structure, fulfilling very specific, important societal needs. So Emily Durkheim was one of the first people to introduce and work on social structures. He made a significant contribution. His work, particularly the division of labor in society, which was published in 1893, and the rules of sociological method, which is talks about methods and other things, that was published in 1895, explores how social structures maintain order and solidarity in societies. Durkheim was a founding figure of sociology and the social structures. He provided a detailed explanation of social structure through his work on solidarity, a norm, and institutions. He argued that social structures exists independently of individuals and shapes their behavior through external constraints. Some of the main aspects of his explanation was social facts. What is social facts? Durkheim introduced the concept of social facts to explain the external and collective elements of society that influence individual behavior. Examples can be norms, laws, customs, and collective beliefs. Social facts exist outside individuals, but it exerts control over them, forming the basis of social structure. For example, societal norms dictate acceptable behavior, such as how to be in the public space, for example. And another key aspects of his explanation was divisions of labor and social solidarity. Durkheim's analysis of social structure is closely tied to his study of divisions of labor, as I mentioned, and the types of solidarity in the society, which hold the society together. So he talks about two different kinds of solidarities. One of them is mechanical solidarity, and which is based on similarities among individuals, such as shared work, values, and beliefs, found in simple pre-industrial societies, which minimal division of labor was there, that minimal division of labor, like people did certain things. There was a shoemaker, there was a farmer, right? The social structures maintained through strong collective conscience that unites people. In mechanical solidarity, people work together, they go to church together, they living in a traditional families, they do farming together, right? That is mechanical solidarity. And there is organic solidarity, which is a more solidarity in modern societies. Organic solidarity is based on interdependence due to specialized roles and functions. It is found in complex industrial societies with extensive divisions of labor. Before there was a doctor, right? The doctor maybe treated all kinds of illnesses. Now we have ear doctor, we have a cardiologist, which is specialist for heart and blood systems, and we have specialists for our brain or any parts of our body, right? So that is really like extensive division of labor. The social structure is in organic solidarity is maintained through the interdependence of individuals who perform specialized tasks. For example, doctor depends on a farmer for food and vice versa. So another part of Durkheim's understanding of social structure and how that holds people together was a collective conscience. Collective conscience is the shared beliefs, values, and moral attitudes that unite members of society. So in traditional societies, the collective conscience is strong and encompasses most aspects of life. In modern societies, on the other hand, it becomes more fragmented, but still provides a moral framework that holds society together. So there are institutions and regulation. Durkheim emphasized the importance of institutions, that religion, family, law, and all of those, in shaping social structure. Institutions act as a regulator, ensuring that individual behaviors align with societal norms and collective needs. Also, he talks about anomy. So anomy, I think I have a slide about anomy in a bit. Yes, I do. So I better don't talk about that right now. He talks about anomy, which is the state of normlessness or breakdown of social norms. Then he talks about social structure as constraint. Durkheim argued that social structures constrain individual behavior, ensuring predictability and stability. For example, legal systems regulate behavior by imposing sanctions for rule violations, while family structures define roles such as parent or child. An education system, for example, I bring this example many times, that as a student, you have your place and you know what to do. And there is very precise rules in educational systems. So overall, to summarize this, Durkheim's key contribution to understanding social structure is very important. He introduced one of the main theories in sociology, structural functionalism. Durkheim viewed social structures as serving specific functions to maintain societal stability and cohesion. And then next big important thing is norms and integration. Social structures integrate individuals into society by providing a framework for norms and values and expectations. Also, adaptation to changes or modern life is very important for Durkheim. He talks about his distinction between mechanical and organic solidarity, explains how social structures adapt to changes in complexity and scale as societies evolve. So Durkheim's explanation of social structure highlights its role as an external organized framework that shapes individual and collective behavior. Through concepts like social facts, solidarity, and anomie, he shows how social structures regulate interactions, ensure stability, and adapt to the complexities of modern life. For Durkheim, the study of social structure was essential to understanding how societies function and endure. So then there is Simmel. I wanted to talk about Simmel a little bit because he argued that there is no such thing as society as such, because society is nothing except for the ongoing interactions between individuals at any particular moment. Compared to Durkheim, his idea is pretty interesting. Nevertheless, he says the forms of interaction can be analyzed independently of contents and interactions, whether at the macro, meso, or macro levels of analysis. So Simmel was a pioneering sociologist who contributed significantly to the understanding of social interaction and social structures. His work focused on the micro level of social life, particularly the dynamics between individuals and groups. Simmel analyzed how social interactions form the basis for larger social structures such as networks and group formations, and how these structures influence individual behavior. So he talked about diets, triads, and social networks. Simmel is well known for these concepts, actually, which are fundamental to understand social relationships and how they shape society. And some of the points about, to just briefly explain this, is a dyad refers to a social group of two people. According to Simmel, dyads are the simplest form of social structure and or crucial for understanding the most intimate and personal forms of social interaction. In a dyad, the relationship is direct and intensely personal because both members rely on each other for the group's existence. So the relationship in a dyad is very intense, but it is also fragile. If one person leaves or breaks the connection, the group ceases to exist. So that group doesn't exist anymore. And there is often a delicate balance of power in a dyad. Conflicts are more likely to arise since there are only two voices in balance. So there's more conflict than the larger groups. Close friendships can be dyads. romantic relationships, and partnerships are examples of dyads. Dyad. So in this, the bond between two people is fundamental, and the relationship's survival depends on both parties. Triads, on the other hand, three people relationships. A triad is a social group of three people. It is more complex than dyad because it introduces a third party or third person into the relationship, creating more diverse interaction patterns and potential for dynamic change. So for simul, triads are very important. They are generally more stable than dyads because the group can continue to function even if one member withdraws. This is because the remaining two members can maintain the relationship, and the third member can serve as a mediator in conflicts. So triads also introduce the potential for coalition. Two members may form a subgroup, which can create tension or division between the third member. It's just a little bit complex. The third person is triad can play various roles, including like being a mediator, source for conflict, or a peacemaker. So families with parents and a child, they are small committees or business partnerships with three members can be considered triads. Now, social networks. Now we are moving from three people to larger complex social structures. So social networks are broader, way bigger or broad, more complex social structures made up of individuals or groups who are connected by various types of relationships. Sorry, my throat is hurting. So Simmel extended his analysis of dyad and triads to look at how individuals are connected within larger networks. A social network represents the web of social relationships that connect people across different groups and contexts. So social networks can be understood as patterns of relationships where individuals or groups are linked by ties such as friendships, professional relationships, family, or shared interests. Social networks determine the roles of influence of individuals within society. These networks dictate who has access to resources, who influences others, and how information spreads. So in a network, some individuals or groups occupy central positions while others are on the periphery. Now we're getting to understanding, inequalities as well. Central individuals tend to have more influence and access to resources. So if you remember the definition of power, it is influence over other people and trajectories and actions, remember? While peripheral members have fewer connections and less influence. The social networks of workplace, online social media platforms, or the global connections between countries can be understood through the lens of Semmel's ideas about how individuals are embedded within a network of relationships. So this interaction and social forms are very important. Semmel's work emphasized that social structures are not just abstract entities, they are created through ongoing social interactions between individuals. In his view, the forum of interaction, such as conflict, cooperation, or exchange, shapes social relationships and creates social structure. Now, there's a difference between how Durkheim viewed social structure and how Simmel is viewing social structure. These interactions can take place between dyads, triads, and larger networks, and the nature of these interactions varies depending on size and complexity of groups. For Simmel, social forms he identifies as specific social forms: competition, domination, friendship, cooperation, that define how individuals relate to one another. And he also talks about the role of an individual in society. He was interested in how individuals can both share and be shared by the social structure. He argued that social networks allow individuals to both influence and be influenced by others, often in a subtle ways. So there is Simmel's work on dyads, triads, and social networks contributed to the development of micro-sociology, which focuses on the small-scale social interactions and how they form the foundation of larger societies. His emphasis on the importance of social interaction and its influence on society laid the groundwork for symbolic interactionism and theoretical perspectives that studies how individuals create meaning through interactions. So Simmel's work provides important insights into the structure of social relationships and the complexities of human interaction. He shows that social structures are not merely imposed on individuals from the outside. Instead, they are formed through the ongoing interactions between people, whether in intimate two-person relationships, dyads, slightly more complex three-person relationships, which is triads, or the broad, intricate webs of connections in social networks. Simmel's ideas help us understand how individual behavior and group dynamics shaped by society as a whole. And I know this is complex, and I hope you got the understanding of Simmel's work. So there are social systems, and the Simmel explained the small-scale social environments, which are micro systems, which are families, peer groups, and dyads, triads, and those stuff. And there are mesosystems. There are intermediate level social systems like organizations, communities, workplaces that bridge between macro and macro levels of society. Macro systems is large-scale social structures like societies and nations, and all of those are large-scale systems. They encompass broader cultural, political, and economic contexts. So let's talk about anomie, and I would like to talk about anomie and alienation and rationalization, which was introduced by Durkheim, Marx, and Weber respectively, and why this is important to understand what's going on in society. So the concept of anomie was introduced by French sociologist Emile Durkheim. If I didn't mention, he was a French sociologist. In his studies of social order and disintegration, anomie refers to a state of normlessness, where the norms and values that usually guide individual behavior in society break down or unclear. This breakdown leads to confusion, alienation, defined by Marx's work, we will get to that, and sense of discontentness from society. Durkheim explores anomie primarily in the context of social change, particularly rapid modernization and how it can disrupt societal cohesion. Understanding anomie is crucial for understanding how societies function and how individuals relate to them. So Durkheim's first developed concept in his work was anomie in his study of suicide, which was published in 1897, where he linked higher rates of suicide to societal conditions. He argued that when individuals lose a sense of social integration, they become disconnected from societal values and norms, leading to psychological distress and harmful behavior, including suicide. So, in times of social upheaval, like revolutions and big social changes like industrialization or modernization, or rapid, stuff happening in society, the traditional norms and values may weaken, leading individuals to experience a lack of direction or purposes. This normlessness can result in disillusionment and frustration. So Durkheim believed that societies function best when they maintain a balance between social integration, which is the degree to which individuals feel connected to society, and social regulation, the degree to which norms and values regulate social behavior. Anomie occurs when this balance is disrupted. So, how can we observe anomie in modernity? Durkheim's concept of anomie is especially relevant when discussing the effects of modernization in society. Modernization brings about rapid changes in social, economic, and cultural life, which can also lead to feelings of instability and disorientation. So, in pre-modern societies, as we discussed earlier, people performed similar tasks and shared common values, creating strong social cohesion that we called mechanical solidarity. In modern societies, however, division of labor becomes very complex, which is organic solidarity, leading to greater specialization and weakened common bonds. As a result, individuals may feel isolated or detached from the larger society. The rapid growth of cities and industries in the 19th century, coupled with technological advancements, which was new, led to changes in traditional ways of life. People no longer lived in small, close-knit communities and began to experience a loss of shared moral values and societal integration. This contributes to the feelings of anomie. So the effects of anomie in individuals and society is immense. It can be individuals may feel disconnected from society, as if they no longer share the same values or objectives as the broader community. Without clear norms and social guidelines, people may struggle to find purpose or meaning in their lives, leading to anxiety, confusion, and depression. Also, anomie may lead to individuals to break from societal norms or engage in deviant behavior, as they no longer feel bound by the social rules that once guided them. So also, as anomie spread, the social fabric weakens. leading to breakdown of social cohesion. People may become more individualistic and less concerned with the collective well-being. Durkheim's research showed that higher rates of suicide were linked to periods of social disintegration caused by anomie. The other social problems such as crime, poverty, and family breakdown may also increase as a result of anomie. So he provided some solutions to anomie. He said that people need to feel a sense of belonging and connection to society. This can be achieved through community ties, shared values, and active participation in social institutions like family, education, and religion. He also talked about the norms and values must be strong enough to guide individual behavior while being flexible enough to adapt to social change. Durkheim believed that institutions like the law, education, and religion could play a key role in maintaining this balance. So, in contemporary societies, for example, in globalization, the rapid flow of information, goods, and people across borders has created new challenges for social unity or cohesion. Cultural diversity and competing values can lead to confusion about societal norms, especially when individuals are exposed to various cultural influences. Also, as technology advances, it disrupts traditional ways of life, leading to a sense of disconnection from the past. The increased reliance on digital communication can create sense of isolation as face-to-face interactions are replaced by virtual ones. Also, economic inequality, widening income gaps, and economic instability can also contribute to feelings of anomie. Individuals who feel excluded from the economic system may experience frustration and alienation in society. So also there is I just wanted to conclude that anomie provides a framework for understanding how changes in society, particularly those related to social, economic, and cultural transformations, can lead to individuals and collective instability. Durkheim's concept of anomie is a critical tool for analyzing the breakdown of norms, the challenges posed by a rapid modernization, and the potential for social disintegration. By examining how individuals and groups experience and respond to anomie, we can better understand the forces that shape social order and cohesion in contemporary societies. Now we have Marx's alienation. These concepts are very important and you will be tested on this. So understanding alienation is very important. Alienation refers to the feeling of disconnection, isolation, or estrangement that individuals may experience within society. And also we need to make a distinction between anomie and alienation here. It occurs when individuals feel that they are detached from the social, economic, and cultural systems that govern their lives. Alienation is a concept that is central to sociological theory, particularly in the works of Karl Marx in Conflict, but it is also relevant to understanding how individuals relate to broader social structures in society. Social structures such as institutions, norms, roles, and networks shape the behavior of individuals and the relationships between people. Alienation can arise when individuals feel powerless, disconnected, or oppressed by those structures, often leading to a lack of meaning or fulfillment in their lives. This sense of disconnection from the broader social system is key to understanding how people experience and navigate societal structures. So Marx argued, this is one of his significant contributions to understanding social structures. He argued that alienation is a direct consequences of the way the capitalist economic system organized labor and production. So there are four types of alienation. And the first type of alienation is the alienation from the product of labor. So he talks about like the labor is all about, whenever you see labor, that's probably started with Marx. In capital systems, workers do not own or control the products they create. They sell their labor to employers, and the goods produced are appropriated by the owners or bourgeois of the means of production, owners of the means of production or bourgeois. Workers feel disconnected from the outcome of their work as their labor is reduced to mere commodity, and the product itself holds no personal meaning or value to them. Second form of alienation is alienation from the process of labor. So labor process, that now the laborer is alienated or disconnected from the product. Now they are alienated in the process of labor. The labor process itself is often repetitive, that they just keep doing one thing only in the manufacturing companies. It is monotonous and controlled by external forces like employers, machinery. Workers lack autonomy and creativity in their work as they perform tasks that are dictated by the needs of the capital system. This lack of control over how labor is performed creates a sense of powerlessness and frustration. The third form of alienation is a social alienation. So in capital societies, relationships between people are often mediated by economic transactions. For example, you go to the store and buy a shirt without knowing where that raw material is coming from and who's making it, who's designing it. Or sometimes you can have the name on it, but you don't have any personal interaction with them. This competitive nature of capitalism can foster individualism and isolate people from one another. Workers may see other individuals as rivals rather than as fellow human beings, leading to social disconnection. So, and then he goes as far as saying that he's very radical at this point. He says alienation from oneself, that self-alienation. So according to Marx, workers become alienated from their own human potential, creativity, and desires. And when you're working in the manufacturing, you're only doing one thing or two things, whatever, as it required. You cannot be creative. In a capital society, work becomes a means of survival rather than a fulfilling activity that express one's human nature. I talk in class how important it is to love what you do. So capitalist system basically does not allow that. Over time, individuals lose sight of their inherent creativity and humanity as their lives are dominated by economic demands. So he talks about alienation in the other social structures, he talks about that alienation can be understood in a broad sense when the various social structures exist. Alienation is not only limited to economic systems, but also be seen in other aspects of society, such as politics, family life, and cultural forces. So if we think about some of them, which is connected to rationalization of Weber, bureaucratic organizations such as government institutions or large corporations can lead to alienation through rigid rules, hierarchical structures, and impersonal relationships. In such systems, individuals often feel like mere cogs in a machine, or performing duties without feeling valued or personally connected to their work. So that is another forms of alienation. So alienation in modern media and technology can be another example. In the modern age, alienation is often tied to the rise of mass media and digital technologies. Social media, for instance, can create feelings of disconnection despite constant communication. People may experience alienation when they compare their lives to curated, idealized portrayal of others' lives, that selfies and showing off on social media. So that is another form of alienation in our lives. Alienation is closely tied to the concept of social integration, which is an important part of understanding social structure, which refers to the degree to which individuals feel connected and bonded to the broader society. When individuals feel integrated into social structures, they experience a sense of belonging and shared purpose. However, when social structures fail to integrate people effectively, or even individuals are excluded or marginalized, alienation arises. So that's a little bit about alienation. To conclude all of them, alienation provides valuable insight into how individuals relate to the larger social structures that shape their lives, from Marx's focus on economic systems to Durkheim's theories on social integration and anomie. Alienation is a powerful tool for understanding the dynamics between individuals and society. So alienation occurs when individuals feel disconnected, powerless, or estranged from social structures, whether due to economic exploitation, social exclusion, or bureaucratic regulation. Understanding alienation is important for addressing issues such as social integration, inequality, and the need for social change. By analyzing alienation, we can better understand how societies function and how individuals can find meaning and fulfillment in their within them. So we have one more. This is Weber's rationalization. So how Weber understands modern societies and social structures. So rationalization by Weber refers to the process by which traditional, spontaneous, or emotional actions are replaced by goal-oriented, calculated, and efficiency-driven behavior, particularly in the context of modern social and economic systems. It's a process. It's a key concept developed by Weber, and he was a German sociologist. It helps to explain the development and the character of modern social structures, particularly in relation to bureaucracy, capitalism, and industrial society. Rationalization is central to understanding the shift from pre-modern to modern societies, as it has transformed the ways in which individuals, organizations, and institutions operate, influence both social behavior and the structures of society. So he uses this rationalization to describe how modernity increasingly relies on logic, efficiency, and calculability in social institutions, organizations, and everyday life. According to Weber, rationalization plays a key role in shaping modern social structures, and it has both positive and negative consequences. So some of the key concepts of rationalization are efficiency and calculation, bureaucracy as a product of rationalization, and iron cage. So I will talk about them one by one. So efficiency and calculation. Modern society is increasingly focused on achieving goals and efficiency. This is seen in organizations and bureaucracies that emphasize calculation, predictability, and measurable outcomes. Rational systems are designed to operate effectively or efficiently, regardless of individual differences or emotional considerations. So bureaucracy as a product of radicalization. What does it mean? Weber's analysis of bureaucracy is a key example of rationalization. In modern organizations, bureaucracies are centralized by hierarchical structures, formalized rules, specialization of tasks, and impersonal relationships. These features allow organizations to function in a systematic and efficient way, but they also create a machine-like social environment. The iron cage is, Weber was concerned that the increased focus on rationalization might lead to the iron cage of modernity, where individuals are trapped in systems that prioritize efficiency and productivity over human values and social connections. He warned that this rationalization of social structures could lead to disenchantment, meaninglessness, and a loss of individual freedom. So where do we see rationalization in modern societies? Let's see if I have another. Okay. So in modern societies, rationalization is evident across various domains of life, from work to governance to culture. For example, capitalism as rationalization in the economic structures. Capitalism is deeply connected to rationalization, particularly in the ways businesses are organized and operate. In capital societies, economic activities are driven by pursuit of profit and efficiency. Rationalization then leads to mass production, standardized labor processes, in the organization of work in a way that maximizes profit or output. So another form is bureaucracy and governance. Weber talks about the ideal type of bureaucracy. He argued that modern state and organizational structures increasingly rely on bureaucracies. Bureaucracies are highly organized and hierarchical, with rules that govern all aspects of functioning. Individuals in a bureaucracy follow established procedures are expected to be neutral and objective in their roles. Also, there are cultural rationalization, and that we can see it in the management and scientific management and technology. Rationalization in modern society also manifests in the form of scientific management techniques that we sometimes call them Taylorism. So, which emphasizes that emphasize the analysis and optimization of work processes. In the digital age, technological advancements and automation are part of the rationalization process, with machines and algorithms designed to carry out tasks more efficiently than the human beings. So he talked about the consequence of rationalization. There are positive consequences and negative consequences. Positive consequences, rationalization can lead to a significant advancement in productivity, efficiency, and organization, especially in the realm of business, government, and industry. And then rationalization also creates systems where expectations and outcomes are predictable. For example, bureaucratic structures in government and organizations provide a stable and consistent environment with rules and regulations that govern behavior. Negative consequences can be that he believed that rationalization leads to the disenchantment of the world, where he talks about individuals lost a sense of meaning and purpose as society becomes more focused on efficiency and calculation. The spiritual and emotional dimensions of life are diminished. This can lead to feelings of alienation and a lack of personal fulfillment. So you can see there is the connection between anomie and alienation and rationalization. Also, some of the negative consequences can be loss of autonomy and freedom, because you're constantly working in rationalized systems. Individuals are often treated as mere cogs in the machine, following standardized rules and procedures. Also, it can lead to dehumanization. The impersonal nature of bureaucratic organizations and the machinization of work can lead to dehumanization. However, the rationalization also seen as the leading to a social change. It is a driving force behind social change in modern societies, as it alters how institutions, relationships, and individuals interact. The rationalization of work, governance, and culture often reflects broader shifts in the economic systems, governments, and the other systems. All right, if we conclude all of this, rationalization is a central process in the development of modern societies and modern social structures, deeply influencing the way institutions, economies, and cultures function. While it has led to greater efficiency, productivity, and predictability in society, it also creates challenges relates to, as we said, like dehumanization, alienation, and the loss of individual autonomy. Max Weber, his analysis of rationalization helps us understand both the benefits and costs of modernity, highlighting the tension between the drive for efficiency and the need for meaning, connection, and personal fulfillment in society. The ongoing process of rationalization shapes the structure of modern life, and understanding its effects is crucial for navigating the complexities of contemporary social systems. So that is Weber's rationalization. So, what is inequality then? What has social structure have to do anything with inequality? Well, you already got your answers, right? Social inequalities refer to um, disparities or unequal access to resources, opportunities, rights, and privileges across different social groups. These inequalities arise from differences in social categories such as class, race, gender, ethnicity, age, sexuality, and disability, among others. Social inequalities manifest in various aspects of life, including wealth, education, healthcare, and employment, and they often result in systemic disadvantages for certain groups, while others benefit from greater social, political, and economic powers. So social inequality can exist at both at individual level, unequal access to opportunities based on personal character or characteristics, and at the structural level, for example, institutional practices and policies that reinforce and perpetuate unequal distribution of resources. It often leads to social stratification where society is divided into hierarchical layers, with some groups enjoying privilege and others facing marginalization and discrimination. So, what are the role of main social institutions in perpetuating or challenging social inequalities? So, um, social institutions such as family, education, economy, and government play a significant role in either perpetuating or challenging social inequalities. These institutions are the foundational structures through which society organizes and distributes resources and opportunities. Here's a look at um, how we how we how they influence social institutions. So let's go through one by one. The family and social inequality. The family is one of the most important institutions in shaping social inequalities, especially in early life. Families provide individuals with their first experience of socialization and the resources and support available um, within families can significantly impact individuals' life chances. So, perpetuating inequality in families can found in the facts like inheritance and wealth. Families often pass down economic disadvantages or advantages through inheritance, property, or business ownership, which can maintain class-based inequalities across generations. Um, Also, it can be socialization and expectations. Families socialize children into particular social roles based on gender, race, and class. Children from wealthier families may receive more educational support and have access to better resources, while those from disadvantaged families may be exposed to fewer opportunities or may internalize limiting social roles. Or cultural capital. Families provide different forms of cultural capital, for example, knowledge, language, social networks that can influence children's success in educational and professional settings. So, challenging inequalities can be alternative family structures. Some families, especially those that are more inclusive, may foster a culture of equality, challenge traditional gender roles, and support marginalized members in resisting broader societal inequalities, and so on. Education is another social institution that affects social inequality largely. It is a key social institution, actually, that has both the potential to challenge and perpetuate social inequalities. It plays a significant role in shaping individuals' access to opportunities and social roles. Access to resources, educational opportunities are often unequally distributed based on socioeconomic status, race, or geographic location. Wealthier families can afford private schooling, tutoring, or extracurricular activities that give their children an advantage in education and career prospects. And there are they also can challenge inequalities. The economy is a social institution, is perhaps most powerful institution in perpetuating social inequality, as it dictates the distribution of wealth, resources, and opportunities in society. Capitalism in particular tends to concentrate wealth in the hands of few while creating conditions of poverty and economic insecurity for many others. And there are government and social inequality. The government as an institution has the power to either challenge or perpetuate social inequalities through policy making, law enforcement, and governance. And in conclusion, social inequalities are deeply embedded in the fabric of modern society. And major social institutions like family, education, economy, and government play significant roles in either perpetuating or challenging these inequalities. While these institutions often reinforce existing social stratifications, they also offer potential for reform and social change. By understanding how each institution contributes to inequality, sociologists and policymakers and also activists can identify pathways for creating more equitable societies. So exploring dimensions of inequality, types of social inequalities. There are economic inequalities, there are social inequalities that your relationships, prestige, status, opportunities. There are political inequalities, unequal access to power and representation and participation in decision-making processes, and educational inequality. There's different levels of access to quality education and opportunities for learning and gaining cultural capital. Health inequalities, disparities in access to healthcare, health outcomes, and life expectancy. And cultural inequalities, it can be, the languages, unequal recognition, representation, and the cultural identities and practices. Also, there is environmental inequalities, disproportionate exposure to environmental hazards and access to clean, sustainable living conditions. So this is our lecture for social structures, modern life, and inequalities. We went through understanding of classical theories, how that explains modern societies. We talked about anomy, we talked about alienation, we talked about rationalization, and then we tied them to how inequalities happen in society. Inequality itself is we can talk about that whole course, which I'm teaching another course in social inequalities, but I tried to give you the main basic understanding of it in this class, and I hope liked it. So I'll see you in our next class. Bye.